Hello, I'm Carl Bland. This is Peter Bland, my dad. We're going to talk a little bit about your new book, Dad.
Yeah, okay.
What's it called?
It's called Nowhere is Too Far Off.
I was just looking at the book, and I know this is something we've talked about before, but that thing of time and place seems to have, the specific thing of time and place seems to have disappeared a little bit.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the big differences in the book is the poems are much looser. They hover more, and they exist almost in a timeless zone. The earlier poems, I think, because of problems of identity and being an immigrant and that sort of thing, where there was a kind of need almost to create a place for myself, an identity for myself. I don't feel that need anymore.
No, that's really obvious reading the book.
Right.
It's a kind of freedom in a way, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely, and that's what's so exciting about it. I mean, the fact that that's happened and that the poems have become like that, they're much more concerned with a range of human emotions, a sense of spirituality, a sense of otherness. They hover between extremes. They don't want to, they've done away with borders.
Yeah, completely.
There's no borders. There's no flags. There's no borders.
No.
They just exist in terms of an emotional mood or an emotional insight.
Yeah, and even that the whole sort of, struggle, well, not struggle, but this kind of the thing between England and New Zealand has completely gone now.
Completely gone,
Yeah, and I remember you used to write poems like, Scarborough 1934 or 1935, and even towards the last of those poems, the sort of dates became quite unreliable. You know what I mean?
That's right.
That's right. They were like there was sort of
Well, I think the person in the poems was unreliable.
That's right.
Well, that's so. Didn't quite know. I was also. I'm getting under 90, so the poems about my childhood. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. There's very few people.
Well, that's right.
There's very few people around who knows what I'm talking about.
Well, that's true.
So I have to sort of treat them slightly differently. I'm always surprised to find myself in those poems.
Yeah.
And also to think, well, is that really me? So there's a question of identity about it.
There is, and also that whole thing of that in a way all memory is fiction anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely, all memory is fiction. Yeah.
And once you sort of realise that, in a way, it gives you
huge freedom.
Huge freedom.
To treat it, to treat it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, now that the poems are borderless, and also I noticed that. People say, "Oh, you've got angels in those poems. What? You've got a unicorn." I'm not above having a unicorn sort of wandering around somebody's back garden.
No.
I'm not above having. I use angels as symbols of a sort of higher state of experience.
Yeah,
that's what they are.
Yeah,
and I'm not above finding the odd Greek god wandering down Dominion Road.
Well, that's
a freedom too.
Oh, well, it is, but also it's that thing, isn't it, where they, I get it in my own work, where people go, oh, that's very surreal.
Yeah.
But what I think people forget about that whole surreal thing is, you're still trying to reveal a truth, aren't you?
Absolutely, you are.
It's not like you're going off on a tangent using unicorns or angels. All you're doing is using them to get to the truth.
Absolutely. Yeah. And once you discover that, they become very interesting. They're only here to tell us something about our lives now.
Yeah, and reveal more.
Reveal more about our lives now, and to sort of bring the past to us in a sense of the now.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. Well, maybe have a read of one of the poems.
Okay. The titles of the poems, like sort of Wayfarer and Just Passing Through, and they sort of indicate a sort of transience.
Oh yeah. Completely.
They indicate an interest in the between. So this is called Wayfarer. I'm only an old wayfarer, cue for a song, but I pray that some avenging angel will rid us of those who rule like gods. I'd offer myself as an old assassin, but I've barely the strength to wind my watch. No need, laughs the local shaman. Time hides us from the light. He's something of a clown and a loner, and tomorrow he's heading for the hills. I'll miss the echoes of his laughter and his little gasps at how beautiful life is.
Yeah, I mean that's beautiful. I mean that's that thing, isn't it? Of the journeys now. So I suppose what we're saying, these journeys are now happening in a kind of, I don't know. There's a kind of archaic kind of, I don't know. There's a sort of archaic quality to them and a sort of dreamscape quality to them now. The journeys they feel like they've gone past journeys between countries. They're journeys to somewhere else, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the discoveries on the way. You discover the poems discover you.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting. I always find probably the best poems are the ones that surprise me the most.
Oh, completely. Yeah, completely.
Yeah.
They're the ones you want. It's
Yeah,
like they're like they're some gift, aren't they?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that lovely thing which you got in the poem too, which you're on a journey. There's always the campfire, isn't there? Which is where you tell stories, and share experiences with other passing.
That's right.
Strangers.
Yeah, I think the poems have become addicted to moods.
Yeah.
They're about moods, they're about gestures, there's more musicality in them, and there's the acknowledgement, I think, that the most one can do is light campfires and sing songs.
Yeah.
That's about as much as you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's marvellous to be able to do that.
Oh, completely. It just, yeah. Well, there's another one too.
This poem is called Wilderness. It's very much about the states of emotional being that Carl and I have been talking about. Wilderness. I've been slow to acknowledge that my home is a wilderness. But wild violets I'd once barely noticed are a sudden forest inside my head. Birds gather round as if I was St. Francis, and a couple of wolves who live next door have taken to licking my outstretched hands. As the body ages, it begins to break up. Bits of me want to be everything else. There's a swirl of salt water, old bones and stardust. Of late, I can barely contain myself.
Yeah, you were saying you had a thought, Dad, about your poem. I mean, I always think about. Something I always think about too is all good art is a reflection of contemporary life in a way.
Yeah. Even the past has to be seen as being of concern to the present.
Oh, of course.
There has to, if you're writing about the past, the poem has to sort of overflow into the present world. It can't, So.
And in terms of this book, how do you feel this book sort of relates to?
I think there's a great. I think behind. I mean, there's an increasing sense of the beauty of things. Yeah. Because I'm getting old, so I suppose there's an urgency behind that.
Yeah.
That I'm aware tremendously of, as the poem said earlier, little gasps of beauty. But behind a lot of the poems in the book, there is a growing concern with our present situation in the world. The way we're ruled by power, the sort of flush of dictatorships which are telling us what to do, and there's a real concern that this is getting really, really bad, and a feeling that what matters most to us is utterly defenceless.
That's lovely. Yeah. Well, that's Dad's new book, Nowhere's Too Far Off. I just started to read it yesterday, and there's so many lovely little discoveries in it, so I highly recommend it. And thanks for watching.